Hello, students of Glen Forest Elementary School. My name is Leslie. I am the aunt of your teacher, the lovely Ms. Schroeder. I call her Julie. You call her Ms. Schroeder. And I'm also a beekeeper. It's my 11th year of beekeeping. And Ms. Schroeder asked me to make a video for you of what's happening in the beehives. It's been a very busy week so far because it's springtime, so it's getting warm, and that means the bees are starting to do what they do in the spring, which is swarm. But let me back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about why honeybees are important. Honeybees are the #1 pollinator in the world. So 1/3 of everything that you eat, 1 in 3 things on your dinner plate, would not be there were it not for the honeybee. And the honeybees have been mysteriously dying, disappearing since about 2009. Nobody really knows why. It's not like COVID, it's kind of different. It's a mixture of things. There's a mite that's getting to them. There's a virus in their thorax. People think it might be because of pesticides, but nobody really knows. So that's why I became a beekeeper 11 years ago, is to help with pollination by becoming a backyard beekeeper, because bees tend to pollinate within a 3-mile radius of where their hive is. And so I got 2 hives here at my house, and I have a couple other friends that have hives down south of me, and that's what we do. We keep bees. So what I'm going to do is take you over to the hives, and well, let me start by telling you, see if I can remember all 5. There's 5 products of the beehive that the honeybee makes. One of them, of course, is honey. Another is bee pollen. Bee pollen is if you have allergies in the springtime and they're from plants and flowers, not from dust and stuff in your house. If you eat a little bit of bee pollen, like just sprinkle it on your yogurt or whatever you eat in the morning, it does really help with the symptoms. So that's 2, honey, bee pollen. The 3rd one is wax, beeswax, which is of course for making candles and things like that. The 4th is a product called propolis, which is pretty much like it's like glue. It's like bee glue. They use it to tighten up all the seams in the beehive in the wintertime to keep the coldness out. It certainly gets cold here in Denver, Colorado. And the 5th one is called royal jelly. And that's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's how bees make queens. When it's time to make a queen bee, they will take some cells that were destined to be ordinary bees and feed them exclusively this thing that they magically make called royal jelly. And that's how they make queens. But rather than me just standing here talking to you about it, let's get into these beehives. So these are 2 hives that I put together yesterday. The bees actually arrived yesterday. These 2 hives did not make it over winter. Nobody really knows why, but I got my bees yesterday and I put them in, and so I'm gonna put the rest of my suit on and we're gonna get in and take a look at them. So I can show you how to look at bees in a beehive. Maybe we'll even see the queen. The queen is the most important part of any bee colony. Oops. Tactical error here. In season, like now when it starts to be getting warmer out, the queen will lay upwards of 1,500 eggs per day. That means she's making more than 1,000 bees every day of the summer, and without a queen that wouldn't happen. So that's why the queen is very important. It's hard to spot the queen. She's just like a bee, but she's bigger. She's longer, and she walks differently. She kind of waddles. She kind of rotates her body when she walks, rather than walking like you and I do, or like a bug would do. So I'm just gonna put my gloves on here because I don't want to get stung. I don't want you to get stung, but you're pretty safe where you are. Thank you for letting me into your classroom, Ms. Schroeder. All right. I am going to attempt to set this phone up so that you can see what I'm doing, but first of all, let me just open this up. So this is one of the colonies here. This queen is named Maggie. And I'll take the top cover off here. This goopy stuff you see on the top, that's called a pollen patty, and that's like it's human-made. Humans make it, and it's a way to give honeybees some pollen before nature can make them any pollen. One of the first flowers in the spring to produce pollen is the flower that everybody seems to hate, the dandelion, but bees sure like it. And then next after that is crocuses. But anyway, here, that's my dog Ollie barking. Now we're looking into an active beehive. And what I'm going to do is put this phone right here on the fence, carefully so it doesn't fall down. And I'm going to grab a frame, and we'll look for the queen bee. One of the more important things about working in a beehive is moving very slowly, because these are little tiny bees and they don't like when you